Hi, I'm Bob Dinerstein, Director of the Clinical Program and Associate Dean for Experiential Education here at American University Washington College of Law. I'm here today to talk to you about the clinical program here at the Washington College of Law and tell you what a terrific program it is and why you should really want to be part of it. Our theme this year, our tagline is Be the Lawyer, and what we mean by that is in the clinical program you will have an opportunity not only to think about and learn about what lawyers do, but actually to act as lawyers act on behalf of our clients, who cover a wide range of subject matter and other aspects of their lives. One of the key aspects of the clinical program is that we help real clients, mostly individuals, some organizations. So these are not simply clients that are made up or clients that come out of casebooks, but these are real people with real needs, with real obligations, and we serve those clients and do a lot of good in the world because of the work that we do. In the clinic, one of the key things that we teach you is how to learn from experience and how to apply that capacity to learn from experience to your future work as lawyers. Experience is powerful. It's a powerful teacher, but it's important to know not only to have the experience, but how to extract from that experience the most you can from a learning standpoint. And you'll have an opportunity to do that in the clinical program. Related to that is something we also stress quite a bit, and that is reflection. That is, the mantra in the clinical program is you plan the activity, you do the activity, and then you reflect upon the activity. And it's really in the reflection that you have an opportunity to think about what you did and the meaning of what you did, how you can do it better next time, why something went the way it did, or even just congratulating yourself for a job well done. I think the best thing to say about clinical education really is that the act of representing clients in the role of an attorney is transformative. It changes what you know, it changes what you think about yourself in ways that are exciting and wonderful, and it's really a strong part of what we offer here at the Washington College of Law. The casework that we do in the clinics, again we have 9 different clinics here at the law school, is varied. We approach our cases in certain ways that are consistent across the board in our clinics. One of the things that we stand by is we have we approach representation of clients in what we call client-centered representation. That is, the client is the primary focus of our work. The client makes the decisions about what positions to take in the case, and it's our job to effectuate those positions consistent with the rules of ethics and the rule of law. That seems like a standard thing to do, but you'd be surprised how in some areas of practice sometimes lawyers dominate their clients. Well, we try not to dominate our clients, but rather to have our clients really give us the guidance that we know that they can. Within the client-centered representation, we in our clinics we teach you the aspects that go into representing clients. Everything from interviewing the client at the first moment to figure out what the case is about, to investigating a case, to developing a theory of the case, to counseling the client, to negotiating on the client's behalf, and ultimately to going to a hearing or going to a meeting, at which point you might draft transactional documents. So it's a real soup to nuts approach, and everything in the case that a lawyer would do in a real case, you as a clinic student would do. I think it's fair to say that in our cases that we make a real difference in the lives of our clients. We understand that we are privileged to work with our clients and to step into their lives, but we feel like that we have and you will have skills that you can use on behalf of your clients. Now you might ask yourself, how do you get to this point of being able to do this work, since you are probably a rising 3L and maybe haven't had enough experience yet to know how to do these things. And that's, of course, where supervision by your faculty supervisor comes in. Our clinical faculty, there's about 22 of us, collectively have a great deal of experience as teachers, as lawyers, and we work with you in a very intensive way to help you figure out what needs to be done in a case and then to help you figure out how to do it, as well as giving you the opportunity to think of the broader context in which the case arises. We support you, we coach you, we don't micromanage you. So we try to balance the role we play so that we are very much aware of the fact that you are the one who's up front or out front. We're behind you. We're there to make sure you don't fall too far and certainly don't commit malpractice, but more positively, we really make sure that you have all the support you need from us to do the work that we know you can do. In addition to the seminar portion of what we do in the clinic, we also have in all our clinics something we call case rounds, sort of like medical rounds if you think about that. And in case rounds, all the students in the clinic in each particular clinic would get together and talk about what's going on in their cases. It could be anything from, hey, let's talk about a hearing we had last week and we want to tell you what the result was. We won, that's great, here's why. Or here's a problem I'm having in my case and I'm wondering whether other people can help me figure out what to do with it. Or here's some ethical issue that arose in the case that we had and I wasn't sure if we handled it right. I'd like to kind of present that case to you. So almost anything about your cases is relevant for that setting, and it's a great place to learn not only about your own case, but to learn from others and from your peers. We try very hard in our clinical program to make sure that what the experience and the wisdom is not only in the professor, but also in you, the student, and in your colleagues as well. In addition to the individual representation, we try to pay a lot of attention to critiquing the legal systems in which you function, so that many of our clients are poor, they're certainly or all underserved by the legal system, and as a consequence we want to not only get justice for our clients in the individual cases, but to think about ways in which those cases reflect on broader aspects of society. Some basic some basic questions, ABCs about the clinic. We give priorities to rising third-year and fourth-year students because we want to try to reach as many students as we can. You may apply as a second-year student, and some years we have spaces for second-year students, some years we don't. So if you're not sure about whether you want to do it in your second or third year, there's no reason not to apply in the second, and also no reason to feel disappointed if you don't get it, because it certainly doesn't hurt you for applying for the third year if you applied for the second year. The only limitation on that is that some of the clinics, even if they have spaces for it, will not be able to accept you unless you've had certain, unless you are a third-year student or you've had certain courses, and you can check with particular clinics to find out what those are. There are sometimes questions that arise about whether it's possible to do clinic and other activities. For example, can you be in clinic and work on a journal, and in fact be on on the executive board of a journal, for example? Can you have a job while you do the clinic? Is it okay to be in an externship or to be in Marshall Brennan or Moot Court? The basic answer to all those questions is it depends. It depends on how well you are at structuring the time you have and making available the time you need. Clinic is a time-intensive activity. It takes a lot of time for you to get up to speed in the kinds of cases we give you. We usually estimate that it takes about 20 hours a week when things are up and going in the clinic for your clinic work. So if you think about that, think about how many other courses you're taking. Clinic usually is about 7 credits a semester, so it's a big chunk, but it's not all of your semester. Then you have to figure out, well, if I'm taking 7 credits for clinic and I'm doing 20 hours a week of clinic work, what other classes must I take and what other activities can I fit in? And some students are very good at being able to multitask and to balance those activities. You know yourself best, so it's important to think about that. With respect to working in particular, my rule of thumb is that usually it's good if you can work 10 hours a week or fewer, as well as clinic. If you do more than that, I think it can be somewhat of a strain for you. And irrespective of how many hours you're working, it's important that you work at a place where there's some flexibility. Because if you're working at a job that says you must be here, Monday from 9 to 3 and Friday from 2 to 6 or something like that, and you have a hearing that comes up during those times, you, of course, to serve your client, would need to be able to go to that hearing. I think most legal employers understand that, but you want to make sure you've been able to cover that. As far as journals, moot court, those kinds of activities, again, it's really just a matter of scheduling and making sure you devote enough time to those activities, but also to the clinic. And then as far as externships, I would say most students probably do externships in their second year and clinic in the third year. You don't have to do it that way, but to do clinic and externship the same semester or same year, I think is a little bit of a challenge just because of the amount of time that's involved. Just some final kinds of basics about applying. We have now an online application process. Those applications will be available after our meeting on February 11th. You should save the application while you don't have to work on it all at once, but please save it while it's in progress. At the end, you'll be given an opportunity to press submit, and that will be the official indication that you have filed it. The deadline for filing the clinic application will be Friday, March 4th at 5 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. If you're in California that day, you still have to get it in by 5 o'clock Eastern Time. The the online applications will close at 5 o'clock, so that if you're just even a little bit late, you will not be able to submit. So please don't wait till the last minute. This is a good opportunity to learn a lawyering lesson, which is when a pleading is due at a certain time. You might want to give yourself just a little bit of extra time in case that happens to be the time your computer is crashing or something else comes up. So please don't wait till the end if you can help it. One important part of the process I want to explain too is that we ask everybody who applies to a clinic to go to one small group session. It can be in the clinic that you think of as your first choice. It can be in really any clinic, but that's an opportunity for us to give you a little bit more information that's clinic specific, and we would require you actually to do that as well. When will you find out? We'll find out probably certainly before you do pre-registration for next year. That's so that by the time you are ready to pre-register, you'll know whether you have an opportunity to be in clinic. I want to say something about getting in. If you get an offer to be in one of the clinics, you will get an opportunity to accept or to reject. If you accept it, we ask you to make that decision very carefully and to be very serious about it. Unlike other courses, it's not so easy to just drop clinic if after if sometime over this summer you think, oh, I don't think I want to do it, or even worse, sometime the first week of class, or if you're in a one-semester clinic in spring, you decide at the beginning of the spring not to do it. Indeed, we treat the dropping of clinic once you've decided to accept it as equivalent to seeking to withdraw from a case in which you're representing a client. And we would ask you to go through a process which you would have to demonstrate to the clinical supervisor why it is you should be let out of this obligation. We sometimes run into problems with students who, notwithstanding what we say about this, think later it's just a question of not signing up or just deciding not to continue with the program. So if you think there's any question about whether or not you want to do it, really try to address those issues up front before you make the decision to accept the clinic. Last thing I just want to say, you can certainly find out this information on the web, but I think, as you know, we have a variety of clinics here. We have 9 of them. The Community and Economic Development Law Clinic, the Criminal Justice Clinic, the DC Law Students in Court, which is a citywide program we participate in, Disability Rights Law Clinic, Domestic Violence Clinic, General Practice Clinic, the Glushko Samuelson Intellectual Property Clinic, the Janitor Spragan's Federal Tax Clinic, Immigrant Justice Clinic, International Human Rights Clinic, and the Women in the Law Clinic. So each of these clinics has their own, obviously different subject matter, different characteristics, and you should check with the relevant faculty in those clinics if you have specific questions. That's really all I wanted to say at this point, other than after you've watched this video, there'll be an opportunity to meet with students and faculty from particular clinics at tables that are set up. And again, feel free to ask them any question you have. And I'm always available, and other clinical teachers are available for you to talk to at any time if you have any questions about the clinic. So thanks for listening, and we hope to see you next fall.
All right, and cut.